Hello everyone and welcome to another What's Next. I'm going to be your host Trombone, filling you in all the details about what's happening in patch 7.21. That's right, the patch before everything changes with runes and stuff. It's going to be coming on the 8th. Get ready because Runes Reforged is going to rock your world. However, we got a lot of stuff to cover today. I mean, we got Azir, Ekko. When's the last time Exo got a change? It was like never. So, you know, we got a lot of stuff to cover. So let's get into it, all right? Champions. Right. Right. Classic. Azir. So basically what they did with Azir is they took his damage down on his Q. It's down 20 at max rank, and his W damage is down 5 damage at each rank past level 5. Each level past level 5. So basically they took Azir and just reduced some of that damage, took it down a bit. I didn't see Azir as a huge problem. I'm sure higher elo people were abusing the shit out of him, especially if his damage was a little too high. So I guess it's a nice balance change, but considering he's a little too mechanically advanced for those down in the crap tier things, didn't see too much of him, and don't expect to see too much of him after this, especially after the nerf, considering how much of a mechanical champion he really is. Ekko. So his passive damage to monsters is now up. Riot's like, hey, give Ekko a chance to jungle some, huh? It's up to 200% from 100%, giving him a little more viability than jungle. Like, straight up, that's what Riot's going for. They're like, hey, we want this guy to have some more viability in the jungle again. Do I see it happening all that much? Not really. Ekko in like just kind of general has dropped in priority just because of the way the meta is. And even the, you know, Bronzies down here who like to carry lane and win everything, they might pick up Ekko every now and again. We might be lucky enough to see a wild Ekko. Don't expect it to go too far though, because there's just so many more viable junglers, tank junglers. Hello? I mean, they did nerf Sejuani in this patch, but I don't think it's gonna bring too much down. Speaking of junglers, we have Evelynn. They basically took her E and they gave it a minimum damage from percent health. That's down to 25. Up to 25. It was 0. Now it's 25. They gave it to her. They gave it to her. So Galio. Galio basically got just a mini rework. They're like, hey, Galio's really cool. He's a super tank. He's really awesome. But we want him to do more damage. And we want you to kind of have the option to build AP tank bruiser kind of things, rather than just straight tank Galio. So basically what they did is they popped up all his AP ratios. For example, his passive AP ratio is up to 0.7. I believe that was at 0.4. His Q base damage is down, but the ratio is up going to be to 0.9 from 0.7. Max health damage is up to 3% per 100%, or per 100 AP per half second. That's an odd one. W, so they gave him +5 per 100% armor resistances, magical damage reduction, physical damage reduction. It's half, but it's got another +5 bonus per 100 AP, and it's half on the physical damage reduction from the magical damage reduction. So basically that's what they did. Everything but his ult is they changed it. They upped the AP ratios. They downed the base damage. They gave him a little less good resistances on his W, unless you're building some AP. So Bruiser Galio coming out would be actually really cool. It's kind of how I wanted him to be. So to see him kind of fit that role seems really cool, and I'm kind of excited to give him a go. And so just in case you're wondering, if an AP Galio is coming at you, he's a lot stronger than he was before. Don't expect to see too much, because he's still best as a bruiser, but AP Galio, look out for it. I should try it. It looks fun. Anyway, Gangplank, tiny little-ish change compared to like the whole mini rework that Galio got. Basically, the minion gold on kills So it was 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 at ranks 1 through 5. That's now up +1 gold per rank on his Q. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gold. Better scaling, better snowball. On Galio, you get that Trinity Force, and then you roll people. So, I mean, yay, Gangplank's in a stronger place. Rammus, they didn't want him to be a true tank. They just wanted him to be a tank against physical damage dealers, which kind of makes sense. It's kind of as W works. So they changed that. They still give him a magic resist bonus. It's just half of everything it was. So it's got 10 base, and then you have up to 45% max. I guess that's not half. I guess they nerfed that 25% at every rank. I misspoke there. I apologize. But half the magic resist bonus, and then down 25% for each rank in his W. His armor bonus, though, is going to go up just a tad. It's going to be up to up 20% at his max rank, and it's going to go up 5, 10, 15, and 20 at every rank except for the first one. But that's the boring stuff. Who plays Rammus? Not in bronze. Not today. Gangplank is an actual change. Expect to see some Gangplank. That's a monster right there. All right, Sejuani. They're like, hey, Sejuani is the single best jungler right now in the entire world. Best win rate. OP champ, ban every game. So we're like, we gotta change this. We gotta change this. That's what Riot said. I'm not Riot, you know, whatever. So they took down her base armor. It's now down to 22 instead of 27. Armor growth is down to 3 from 4. Base magic resist 27.1. They knocked that down 5, just like her base armor. See it in the correlation. And magic resist growth is 0.75 from 1.25. She's less tanky. That's the idea. But what they did do on her passive, at max rank, it's up 20 flat bonus resistances, which is really nice. But what they did with that is they made it easier to know when she's shielded, when she's not. So that's going to last 2 seconds. You hit her, boom, 2 seconds you got, and that's still up. And then you can hit her for another 12 seconds. And then it comes back up because that's the cooldown. All ranks now, all the time, all the time. This is what's happening all of the time. Also, they felt like she did too much damage on her E, but they thought it was at the beginning for some reason. Although they knocked it down, this is the one where they knocked it down half damage at every rank. So now it's down 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60 damage at each rank. However, when you shatter it, you still do 10, 15, and 20% of the target's maximum health, and that's based on your passive rank. So that's how that's going to work for you. Sejuani, a little less annoying. Still pretty strong, I would imagine. They probably ruined her early game, hardcore, which is nice, because Sejuani had this really great stranglehold on the meta where she was a tank jungler, really good at tanking, being a late game giant, but also really good at early ganks because she was freaking unkillable. There was very little outplay. The stun, if you had a double melee top lane, you know, with Sejuani and then a melee top laner, you could really proc that stun really easy. It's really easy to get first blood. She snowballs really hard and can get to that unkillable tank monster in the late game a lot earlier. So what they did is they took down all of that. They took down the growth, they took down the base stats, so her clear is going to be hurt a little bit, and her early ganks aren't going to be quite as powerful. Permafrost especially, so that damage that it does right up front is going to be less. It's going to be doing less damage. When it pops, it's going to do about the same, but I think it's going to be really nice to see Sejuani. It's a decent balance change. They still give her the really late game tank, but they took away a lot of that early game power that made her just ridiculously crazy in the meta. So that's Sejuani. This is probably one of the biggest changes. It's going to actually change your gameplay. Unless you're in bronze and then you never see Sejuani and it doesn't matter anyway because nobody likes playing tanks. But that's my personal problem. not yours. Moving on to Udyr. Basically what they did is they gave him a bunch of attack damage. Oh, who doesn't like attack damage, Bronzies? Listen here, Bronzies. Because I can call you that because I'm there. I'm with you. I feel you. Anyway, so what they did is the attack damage growth is now up to 5 from 3.2. So every level you're gaining 5 attack damage, which is insane. And then what they did is they upped it 20% on your Tiger Stance. So when you max that out, you get an additional 20% total attack damage for a 180% total attack damage. Not to mention, I believe the Q adds a bleed effect, which is insane. It's not an immediate bleed. It's not like a Darius bleed, but it gives you a little extra damage at the end. It's insane. Check Udyr out. Probably right up your alley, because he's not a tank. He's just a damaging guy that's going to lose you the late game when you split push with no vision. So, that's Udyr. Our ability power ratio is also up 0.15%. That's up to 0.6 ability power instead of the 0.45. Moving on to my man in the top lane, my dude, Urgot. So what they did with his passive is they kind of changed it. They're like, we're going to make it do less damage early, but we're going to give it a crap ton of cooldown late game. So what they did, instead of 10 seconds cooldown on each leg at level 13, it's now 2.5. However, you can't get that down by cooldown reduction anymore. You used to be able to, but still 2.5 seconds. But, and this is a big but here, it's still 8% at max rank, again, level 13, but it's only 2, 3, and 4% damage from 4.5, 5.25, and 6%. So you're really only seeing, and 6% from 7%. So you're really only seeing that same damage at max at level 13. Before that, it's going to do less, but your cooldown is going to get drastically lower. I mean, for example, it's 10% right away at level 9, or 10 seconds right away at level 9, rather than level 13 where it was before. Overall, it hurts a little bit, but I think it's a good change for Urgot. I don't like it because I feel like Urgot's a very snowball-y champion. You want to snowball with Urgot. But they gave him some other tools in terms of that. So his Q, when it pops down, it pops in half a second rather than like almost a full second. 0.85 seconds, now it's 0.5. It's half a second. Boom. And the mana cost, though, they did balance that out a little bit. Made it 50 at all ranks instead of scaling up to 55 from 35. Again, kind of hurts his early game, which is sad to see because his early game wasn't fantastic. It was good. It wasn't fantastic, though. I didn't think he was a meta breaking or anything, but again, maybe high elo players ruining things for the rest of us, namely me. All right, and his ult, nice little detail here. The missile speed is going to be up to 3,200 from 2,100. It's almost going to be double the speed, more speed than you can even imagine. It's going to go, poof. It's going to be there. You're going to hit him and then bring him back. Bring him on back. They didn't change the damage on that, which is really nice. Something I really like. Xin Zhao. That's not even a change. They just like, hey, here's his new recommended items because we changed him. Which they probably should have done when they released him. But I'm not Riot. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. Moving on to Ardent Censer. So this is the big one. The change of this entire patch that you're actually going to want to focus on. Out of every change that I've told you today, this, besides Sejuani, is probably the biggest meta-breaking nerf presented on this patch. So what they did is they took all of the early stats away. So instead of the 20% attack speed buff right at the beginning, if you rush this, you only get 10. And on-hit magic damage starts at 5 instead of 20. And it only scales up to 20 now. And it used to scale up to 35, now it only scales up to 30%. So they made Ardent Censer weaker overall, and they made it much weaker to rush. Ardent Censer Rush is going to disappear. Please, 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 if you listen to anything I say and you're in my ELO, please, after tomorrow, or when this patch hits after that, please stop rushing Ardent Censer. It was good for a long time. It was fantastic. It was a fantastic way to climb. However, it's going away, and you need to let it go. You need to let it go. Embrace the tanks, because they're going to be way more powerful now. But you're going to have to let Ardent Censer rushes go. You can still build it. It'll still be okay. Just don't rush it anymore. Alright? Got to kill those tanks somehow. Ardent Censer. But don't rush it anymore. It's not going to be good. Frozen Heart, they gave it more armor. It's got 100 armor now. I know, like, ugh, I should have saved that for the end. It was much more exciting than 10 more armor. Not to say that that's insignificant. It's going to be pretty nice. However, it's less of a priority item, and that's probably because of the armor was lower. Hopefully this will bring it back somewhere. I just don't think so, especially in bronze. Tear the Goddess. This is another interesting one. So they're going to only let you stack it 3 times per 12 seconds when it was 3 per 8. So be aware. Be aware. You can't stack that like crazy anymore. It's going to stack a little slower. So they did to that on Manamune, and that applies to everything. Seraph's Embrace, Manamune, whatever has tier in it is still going to apply to this 12 seconds. Manamune, to make up for that though, they gave it 5 mana per stack rather than 4 mana per stack. So a little bit of a trade-off. Seems pretty nice. Not fantastic. Again, they kind of nerfed people that build tier. Yet another way to make Ezreal a little less impactful in games in ADC role. But that's how it goes sometimes. And I believe that just about wraps up the patch notes. If you did watch through the whole thing, thank you very much. You're one of few. If you watch the champion that you like and then that's good enough for you, or you just want to see what's going on with Ardent Censer, thanks anyway. I appreciate it. Appreciate the views. If you liked it, feel free to hit that like. If you didn't, feel free to hit the dislike. I'm not going to be hurt over that. It's whatever. I'm going to continue to do these. And if you want to talk about something, feel free to leave a comment. If you liked all the content and you check out some of my other stuff and you like that too, feel free to hit that subscribe button. And I'll be here for you at least bi-weekly, maybe weekly. We'll see. We'll see where we're at that on that one. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, have a good one.